Hello again from San Diego Historical Game Convention's 250 AmRev celebration. And it wouldn't be an AmRev celebration without my next guest, which is my good buddy, Miklos. Mick, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Really thrilled to be part of this, Harold. And Rob Doan and I had a terrific demo, a teaching demo of Newtown earlier today. Was well attended and it went very well. So thanks again for having us.
Yeah, sure thing. It's great to have you here. And as an extension of what you're doing, I believe we got a Steam version of Saratoga, I believe, that we're going to be giving away to 5 people at random that are here for the convention. So happy to spread the love there, Mick. And I think now that I know that's there, I'm going to run out and buy one and play it myself.
Well, here's the thing about that. You can't make any mistakes because it won't let you. so, so there you go. No, it was very generous of Bob Tipton to make that available to you.
Yes, yes. Well, look, we've got Ricardo here from Italy, so he's come a long way to see you, Mick. That's good to see my buddy Ricardo. Ricardo, we may be in Rome in December, so would love to have dinner with you and your wife. Now that I'll just take care of a little administration while we're doing business here. I'm going to put if you might be able to see the comments if you can't see them on your screen. There's a button over there. If you keep playing with it, you'll find it. Otherwise, I'm going to put them on the screen. We'll see if we can read them.
I see the Ricardo. Hello, everyone. Tango Tampa found it and so forth. Yeah.
All right, there you go. There you go. Yeah, and so Ricardo says he's a big fan of the series, which is
thank you, Ricardo.
Not a surprise, right? That your series extends to countries that aren't within the construct of the 13 colonies. Have you gotten much feedback from outside the country on your games?
I really have. It's wonderful. We've got folks in Australia who help us play test. We've got folks in Spain who probably got keenly interested when Pensacola was published and have stayed with us ever since. And matter of fact, speaking of Pensacola, I read in the most recent GMT update, there's an international online Pensacola tournament that's just been launched. They're going to take, don't let me lie to you, I think they're going to take 16 players and create two pools of 8, or maybe it's 32 players with 2 pools of 16. It's single elimination. They're going to pair you up by your experience level. You'll have 1 month to play each game. They're all going to be played using Vassal and Discord live, so there won't be any log file exchanges, and it'd be a matter of coordinating your playing time with wherever else in the world your opponent may live. But I think that's just, that when I read that, I didn't even know it was going to happen till I read it. It's like Truman holding up the Dewey defeats Truman, it was like a last minute thing. And it was just very exciting to see that. So yeah, there's folks all over who have gravitated to the series, and we couldn't be happier.
That's great. Yeah, when you said international, I thought, well, maybe it's just some guys in Texas are playing or something.
Well, there's that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, the 250 is a big year for you. You've got a lot going on right now. Where would you like to start? I've got a whole laundry list of things to talk about.
Well, Harold, I tell you, I think we've covered blocking and tackling quite a bit. We've chatted before, and I think folks kind of know it's a 28-year long series, 10 published volumes, and a little bit about how it got started. So I'd almost like to focus, if we could, on kind of what's happening now. And what's happening now are several things. I'll let you cherry pick, but I'm going to say we've written a book because you've put your ink to paper in there. You were gracious enough to do a foreword for a book I've written about the Revolution. We could talk about that. We can talk about Camden. There's a big event coming up in September, face-to-face all Rev War event that is very special. We could talk about Volume 11, which is the Battle of Green Spring, which is in the art department, and Charlie and I have just finished the map. Matter of fact, do I have a way to share the screen? At some point, I have the map that Charlie sent me. I could probably, if there's a way to do it, I could probably pop it up when we
Yeah,
get to that part of the discussion.
yeah. Well, maybe, let's start there. Let's start with the game, right? I mean, the game is has what year did you start? What was the first publication?
1998 was Saratoga first edition,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
And
so it's been a while.
yeah, it has. It's almost 250 years. Yeah, so that gives us 26, 20, 27, 28 years, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
and by the way, I think that like they say about most artists and writers and musicians, the first is their best, right? That as a writer, you've been thinking your whole life about what you'd put in a book, and then you put it in the book. And I think that your first Saratoga man, that's my favorite by far. I love to play just the scenario, right? That first scenario, where the first contact is at Freeman's Farm is,
Yeah.
wow, what a fantastic example of how that system works and what fun it can be.
Yeah, thank you. That little 4-turn scenario is a real nail biter. We have a 4-turn scenario, 4.5 turns, I guess, in White Plains as well, which is a real nail biter. That's just focused on the fight for Chatterton Hill. And my new one, Green Spring, is going to have a 4-turn scenario. As the evening was approaching and the sun was setting, there was the critical moment on the battlefield occurred when Mad Anthony Wayne launched a desperate bayonet attack to stop the British advance at the Harris Farm, and he bought time for Lafayette to extricate himself from the ambush that Cornwallis had set for him. And these little short scenarios, first of all, they're good for tournament play, but they are great introductory vehicles to get somebody into playing. And they're balanced on a razor's edge. So you lose one strength point and it's like catastrophe, and the game can turn on the last half of the last turn on perhaps a morale point. I mean, they're very tight and a lot of fun. But of course, we then offer the larger iterations of those battles as well.
Sure. Yeah. And in the last few years, a good friend of mine here, Pat Mulvihill, and I set off for trying to play the whole series at some point. And I think we're pretty close.
How nice.
So we just what a great series, and just a wonderful, but also, a great topic, right? I mean, that you get some credit for picking the right topic. It's like, Jason and Ananda with Twilight Struggle. It's a wonderful game, but man, they picked just the right topic. And so I don't know if it's because that's just what you loved, but certainly the American Revolution was a great option.
Yeah, and think about 28 years ago, and I think we've shared this comment before, Harold, but if you go back 28 years, of course, Mark Herman had published We the People, and there was still Avalon Hill 1776 kicking around.
Yeah.
And their GDW had a 120 series game on Guilford Courthouse, which wasn't bad. But there wasn't much. There really wasn't much. And yet we were on the eve of the bicentennial. And so the case was made, to GMT, look, you'll be taking a chance, but you'll be catching the wave. And that's the argument again now at the 250th, right? When GMT agreed to do a special AmRev event in Camden and put some horsepower behind the book and things like that. So it was a little bit of a risk by them to pick that topic when they did, but certainly now it's a whole different landscape out there. I mean, your con is testimony to that very fact, that here we are with all these great designers bringing all of this rich Revolutionary War subject matter to the table. And so it's been a wonderful thing to watch over the past almost 3 decades, for sure.
Yeah,
And
I'm sorry to interrupt. At 4 o'clock, we've got. I'm going to interview Mark Herman and Gene Billingsley in the context of publishers, right? What's the publisher perspective on the American Revolution? And I'm going to ask both of those guys to replay conversations I've had with them in private. But the American Revolution in the United States sells a good number of games, right? And it's a good publisher bet. Forget the topic, the scope, the scale. American Revolution is a hot property, and it seems like it continues to be.
Just last night, I saw a TV advertisement for Young Washington. Lo and behold, Darlene got us some tickets. She's taken me to a matinee in a couple days. But there's stuff streaming there. You can't go to YouTube now without seeing a bombardment of Rev War stuff. And that's fitting because it's the 250, of course, right? So it's certainly on the East Coast. It's in the forefront of folks' minds, and it's a good time to be in the business of Rev War design and Rev War play,
Yeah.
If I can circle back, because I think you said let's start with the game. If I could just quickly circle back to Greenspring. One of the hallmarks of my series, Harold, as you know, is that I not only give you the battles everybody knows, but I bring you the battles that are less commonly known. And Greenspring perhaps is one of those, and yet it was the largest field battle in Virginia during the war. There were 10,000 people on that battlefield or within a few miles of it. And of course, I don't count Yorktown when I say the largest battle, but that was a siege. It was a different kettle of fish. We're talking about an open field, stand-up, linear battlefield. And it was the biggest one in Virginia. It was Cornwallis's last victory in North America. It features Lafayette, Wayne, von Steuben, Muhlenberg on the American side, Tarleton, Simcoe, Cornwallis on the British side. It was a trap. Cornwallis set a trap for that boy, as he disparagingly called Lafayette. And Lafayette stumbled right into it, and were it not for some of Wayne's heroics, who knows? And in his memoirs, Tarleton writes that there was a real opportunity here, had Cornwallis taken it, to crush the American army under Lafayette, which would have had material impact then on the forces that were brought to bear at Yorktown just a few months later. Greenspring was July the 6th. And of course, Yorktown was October. So there's a lot going on here on this battlefield, and I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce yet another of the lesser known but very important battles to not only the series but to the folks that play them.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a great, lots of great details, and your applications are always interesting. So that's good news on the game front. There's a book that is on the GMT P500 and written by Mark Miklos.
Yes, there is. And with a foreword by the impresario extraordinaire, Harold Buchanan.
And by the way, what a great honor for anybody to ask you to do a forward, but for Mark Miklos to ask me to do the forward for the American Revolution game. It's a treat. I tell people all the time, I'm telling my family, they don't like, who's Mark Miklos? I said, don't worry about it. It's important that he asked me.
Well, all credit really to Gene Billingsley and GMT. I brought it up over lunch at SD HISCON San Diego 2 years ago. And, when I brought it up, not the book specifically, Harold, but the notion that we were on the cusp of the 250th and that GMT might have an opportunity to do something like they did back in '98 with Saratoga. And from that very early conversation emerged two things, this Camden event, which we'll talk about, and also the book. And of course, Mark Herman had already had success with his book. And Gene thought, this could be the start of a series of books, by GMT designers on whatever subject matter may be appropriate for them to write about. And anyway, he was willing to take that chance. And if you know my games, you know that I put a historical essay in each one, very detailed, thoroughly researched. And so I felt like I had the skeletal frame for a book right there in those 10 volumes, there's actually 12 distinct battles which are represented in those essays. And so I said, I can hang the rest of the story on top of this already pre-existing skeleton. Naturally, I revised those essays, rewrote them in places, updated them. New research has come to light, things like that. But that was kind of my approach, and I am very, very happy to say that I am just now finishing up a second edit of what came back to me from the layup artist, who is creating essentially the book, which will then go to the printer. And I I find it hard to say modest things, so maybe I shouldn't say anything. I mean, I think it's good. I think people will enjoy the story. I think you're certainly going to come away reinforced in the things that you already know, but it's my intention to share with the reader things they may not yet know about some of the storylines within the revolution. And so that's just been I just can't wait for that to be tactile in my hands.
Yeah.
Very, very special, very exciting.
How many pages came out?
378 pages.
Oh my God.
Very well researched. I've got something on the order of 125 plus end notes. Yeah. And the end notes are a story unto themselves. Yes. Because at 378, I could have kept writing, but I had to, one has to manage that. And so if I make a point, I drop an end note in there. If you go to the end notes, it's almost like the rest of the story is in the end notes. So don't think they're merely bibliographical references. They're actual content there in those end notes. I think we have 14 maps. I think we have, oh goodness gracious, dozens and dozens of portraits of the characters, that we're describing.
Yes.
Again, I think you'll be reinforced in what you already know, but you're probably going to come away saying, "Gee, I really didn't know that." Or that gives me a whole nother way of thinking about this, whatever this may be when you're reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for publicly to the world here. Thank you for consenting to write the gracious forward that you did write for me. I'm very touched.
It was easy to write. It all came from the heart. You shared a late version with me, and I was able to read through it and and enjoyed it thoroughly, and enjoyed the linkage and the story that you tell. So I love your work in that regard. The problem I have now, though, is finding out that it's 378 pages, and I've only got 2 pages of forward. So I'm going to be expounding upon that. And certainly making something longer, but there's my man Ricardo's jumped on it. He's already ordering. It's probably going to cost him 4 times more than the cost of the book to ship it.
Thank you, Ricardo. I see that you're ordering it now. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
what did I want to say here about, I did jot a couple notes down, but of course now I can't read them.
I'll ask you another question while you're
Yeah,
thinking.
please do. It might jog my memory.
So this is your first book. Is that correct?
It is.
So tell me about, like, what's the experience? What did you do? What did you not expect? What's been good? What's been bad about your first book?
What a great question.
You're welcome.
I had the experience in my, in college, graduate school and whatnot, to write theses. And to get through a thesis as a history major, you have to have the discipline to commit so many hours a day at your laptop, even if all you do is stare at a blank screen. You've probably heard other authors talk about that. I didn't believe it was true at first when it was recommended to me as a young man when, in college. But it matters because it creates the discipline that you really need to, to produce work. And there were days when I had, as a matter of fact, I had writer's block in the process of writing this book. I had gotten to a place, it was some of my writings about Benedict Arnold. I had gotten to a place where I felt I needed another chapter to fully develop the story. And that meant that I would have to go back to the research, to do more research. And gosh, I just got sidelined, and the writing itself stopped. And months passed, a couple 3 months, I'll be honest. And I was getting nervous and had a lot of anxiety about that. But eventually I shook it off. No, I have to get back to my discipline of just being present in front of the computer. I'm also somebody who believes in inspiration. I trust myself after all these years that if I have an idea, I can, it might come to me in my sleep. I may be in that waking stage of in the morning, 4:35, 6 in the morning, struggling to wake up, and then bang, there's the answer I've been searching for. Or I may be on a long road trip in a car. There's nothing on the radio. I'm driving in silence, and bam, there's the answer. There's the solution that I've been searching for. So I trust myself that I'll have those moments of inspiration, and it's never really let me down. And that's in game design as well as in the case of writing the book. So I leaned in on it, inspiration. I did experience writer's block. I did have to discipline myself to spend hours working on it. In fact, I'm a big yard work guy. We've got almost an acre and a half here in North Georgia, and deciduous forest. We do lots of gardening, not vegetables, but flowers and shrubs and stuff. And I take a lot of pride in the yard, and I love to be outside. And when spring came on this year, I didn't go outside at all, hardly. I mean, Darlene shouldered the load so I could stay inside and commit to finishing. But with each section or chapter that I finished after I reread it 3 or 4 times and edited, there's a level of satisfaction there that's really hard to articulate. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, hi from Spain. That's wonderful. Very nice.
I'm sure you've met Daniel at our conventions in San Diego. So you turn in a draft. And I understand Kai Jensen was an editor or the editor or something.
Well, she's the production manager at GMT, and so she's a kind of driving the bus, you know.
Yeah. So she takes it. She's edited my rule books before. She's wonderful and thoughtful and detailed. And then does she give you another draft, or does she self-correct, or does she say, "Hey, here are the issues"? How does that work?
Yeah, a little of both. I think she did. She's told me that she's reserving her full review for after we have turned something in that we believe to be, very close to final, which means, again, I'm now going back for a second round of edits with the layup artist, which is giving me an opportunity to correct something or point out something that he overlooked or whatever. Hey, that's actually not John Hazlitt. That's Prudhomme de Boré, so let's get the caption right under the portrait. Or this map is not Camden, it's Savannah. Let's make sure we can, stuff like that. Before I even turned it in, however, to them, I had young Rob Doan review it, and he caught a lot of things for us as well, and I appreciate that very much. And then Kai is going to, I guess, do a final read through, and if there's still anything we missed through all these iterations of editing, then she'll call it out, and that should be it. But I can't speak for her certainly, but we have some small hope that we will have at least some advanced copies in time for Camden in September.
Wow.
So I mean, this is imminent.
Yes. Good. And hopefully some copies for San Diego in November. Well, I'll be leaning on you for that.
I'm smiling.
Good news. Yeah. So what does typesetting mean in a modern technological environment?
I don't know. But when
I assume it's a different software than we use to create the content.
Yeah, it must be, because when I wrote it as a Word document, and it looks like a Word document on my personal draft, 8.5 by 11 size pages, double spaced and all that. What I got back was something that looks like a book, smaller pages, the need to move paragraphs to allow for the placement of a portrait or a map or what have you. I mean, it actually looks like it will look as a book, and that's what I'm now editing. So however he took what I sent him and made it look like that is above my pay grade, really. Yeah.
Very interesting. So we've got the series, we've got the book, and I hope everybody goes out and buys the book. GMT, by the way, anybody that's watching us, I'm supposed to also ask for, what is it, follow, comment, and like, or something like that. Give us some support on the SD Hist YouTube page. I hear everybody say that, so I felt like I had to say it. Sorry, but now we've got this Camden event, this GMT Camden event, which looks like it's going to be awesome. Why don't you tell us what the agenda might be for the Camden event?
Oh gosh, I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you it's going to be unlike any live game convention that you've ever been to. Because of the size of the venue, it's going to be intimate, meaning that we had to cap our attendees number at 115. I believe there may be 10 tickets left, and so hopefully somebody listening today will be inspired to get a ticket.
Sure.
We chose Camden, South Carolina for a lot of reasons. We had narrowed it down to actually 2 or 3 viable options, and they all had something going for them. They were all historical, Rev War related places. It's just that Camden offers the right price point. It offers our opportunity to create the most immersive experience around an 18th century theme. We're going to be playing all the games in the Camden Revolutionary War Visitor Center. They have a conference hall on their campus, and we're going to be in there. Directly across the parking lot is what's called Historic Camden, which is affiliated to the national parks. And they have a campus of 18th century buildings which includes the Cornwallis-Rawdon headquarters when the British were occupying Camden in 1780 and 81. It was used, it was the home of a prominent citizen, and it was used as British headquarters. There's about perhaps 8 other period buildings, one of which I'm going to come back to in a second. And there's also a restored British redoubt. They fortified Camden by encircling it with redoubts, and there's one that's been fully restored, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic to visit. So the headquarters, the redoubt, and these other buildings are on the campus, and anyone who comes to the tournament will have the privilege of having unfettered access to that campus for the entire weekend. You can get up from the table, stretch your legs, go see one of the buildings or what have you, go to the redoubt, come back as you please.
Fire a cannon, that kind of thing.
Yeah, with that kind of thing. And you say that tongue in cheek, but wait, because our meet and greet is going to be in one of those historic buildings on Thursday night, the 24th of September. That's arrival day. And it's the McKay Tavern. Folks can look it up. Historic Camden, McKay Tavern. You'll see pictures of it. It's an 18th century authentic tavern. We're going to have our meet and greet in there from about 6:30 to 8:30, or perhaps it was 6 to 8. I'm forgetting right now. But the point is, it's going to be just before and during and right after sunset. And when we're in full dark, we'll be out in the back lawn, illuminated by cressets, which are the wrought iron fire baskets on 6-foot poles that, would illuminate the area. Anyone who's been to Williamsburg, Virginia at night knows what a cresset is. And in full darkness, after some appropriate remarks, we're going to fire 2 rounds of artillery to kick off the convention. There's also going to be, there are going to be representatives there of the Guilford Courthouse Fife and Drum Corps, and they're going to play fife and drum for us while we're enjoying our meet and greet at the 18th century tavern, both before and after the artillery fire. On Friday, we start playing. We'll play from 9 to 11 daily, Friday, Saturday, and 9 to 3 on Sunday. And this is an all GMT, all Rev War event. And so we're going to have Battles of the American Revolution available. We're going to have Mark Herman's coming. We're going to have Washington's War available. Sam London is coming. He's going to bring his prototype of Common Sense, which he's going to showcase on your con either later today or
today. Yes.
Yes, later today. Also, Bruno Sinigaglio will be there with his prototype of Cowpens, which is already at the printer. That's volume 1 in our small bore spin-off series, showcasing the smaller battles of the Revolution. And anyway, so all of this wonderful gaming, Rev War, GMT product line. You will be able to, if you wish, have your picture taken in either a British or a colonial uniform, not a costume, a bona fide uniform. One of our players is the president of the 1st Delaware, and he will be there in full regalia as a reenactor, but he's also a professional photographer. And so you can have a keepsake photo taken if you wish. We're going to have an oversized copy of the Declaration of Independence for everyone to sign under John Hancock's name, if you so wish. Friday night at 6 p.m., I think, we're having a group dinner. Now, there'll be an upcharge for this, and let me just mention the registration fee. Only $76 for this con. And I haven't barely begun describing all the things we're going to do, and I will continue as we go here. Only $76. But if you want to join us for the group dinner, there'll be a modest upcharge, perhaps another $25. All registered attendees will be sent a link to do that if they want to join us for the dinner. It's going to be at a beer garden that can accommodate 200 people outside under the Edison lights at picnic tables. We're going to have shrimp and grits, as well as pizza and appetizers and salads. Shrimp and grits, that was a special request by Gene. Living in California, he wants his shrimp and grits. And so shrimp and grits are like language, Harold. There are dialects. Yes. Right. So even if I'm Slovak, even if you go to Slovakia, tiny little country in Eastern Europe, 6 million people live there. There's more Slovaks in America than there are in Slovakia. And in such a small place, there are distinct dialects of the same language whatever town you go to. And so shrimp and grits are like that. And we're anxious to see what the version there in Camden is all about. So that'll be kind of fun.
By the way, my starter last night was a version of shrimp and grits. It's called risotto and lobster. But
there you go. There you go. So that brings us to Saturday morning. Boy, Saturday is going to be such a killer day because we have scheduled 2 departures, one at 9:30 in the morning, one at 1:30 in the afternoon, for the 8-mile ride out to the Camden battlefield. We have chartered, they're actually Kershaw County Public School buses, which can carry us out there in 2 relays. And the tour is going to be conducted by none other than Rick Wise, who is the executive director of the South Carolina Battleground Preservation Trust. There are none better to talk about any battlefields in the state of South Carolina dealing with the Revolution. He's fabulous. He's going to give us our tour, and then, I dare not reveal too much more than that, but let me put it this way. About 10 days ago, roughly, I was in the car, I got a call, it was him. He said, how would you like to have for your tour a real first-rate experience? I said, you have my attention, I'm listening. Well, we are going to get to do things on the Camden battlefield that will bring this battlefield to life in a way that you have never experienced. You personally, or me, or anyone listening to this broadcast. I hope
you get to counterattack the British line.
Yeah, it's going to be remarkable. And one other thing about the tour, a couple years, 2.5 years ago, there was an event called the Camden Burials. Some relic hunters had inadvertently excavated human remains, and so authorities were called in, and that led to a 1-year dig. After which 14, I believe, was the number, could be off by 1, remains were uncovered. They were all Continentals but 2. One was a Highlander from Fraser's 71st Highlanders, and the other was a Catawba Indian loyalist fighting with the British. And after all the forensic analysis was completed, there was an event at Camden called the Camden Burials, in which these remains were rendered full military honors by the United States Army, as well as representatives of the Royal Regiment of Scotland, which is the direct in lineage directly back to Fraser's Highlanders. They sent over a contingent. The coffins were draped in appropriate flags, carried in horse-drawn caissons from the Kershaw Cornwallis Rawdon headquarters building, where they laid in state for 3 days, out to the battlefield, where there were speeches by the governor, by the Consul General of Great Britain to the United States, by the military attaché to the United States from Great Britain. There were representatives of the French Army, the German Army. They played taps. They fired a 21-gun salute. The Fort Jackson Army Band played a dirge. There was a lone bagpiper standing off in the distance in the pine trees, playing an appropriate Highland dirge on his bagpipe. A flyover at treetop level of 3 Apache helicopters. It was the most, 5,000 people in attendance. Wow. 5,000. It was spectacular. Fast forward now, the 12 Continentals were buried in a cemetery just 2 blocks from where we're going to be playing. The Highlanders buried on the battlefield where he fell. So we're going to be able on the tour to stand right there. And the Catawba Indian was returned to his people for their ceremonies appropriately. Come to find out, and this was just announced, that after continuing forensic analysis of the remains, one of those Continental soldiers has been identified as Private John Pumphrey, Pumphrey of the 7th Maryland Regiment, who was part of the 2nd Maryland Brigade commanded by Johann de Cobb, Baron Johann de Cobb, which held the British. Camden was a crushing British victory, as most people know, and Gates fled to the hinterland of North Carolina, 110 miles away.
Fled to his retirement.
Yeah. Right, that's right. But the DeKalb and the 2nd Marylanders and the attached Delaware troops held as long as they possibly could. And Private John Pumphrey was one of the last to fall. He enlisted at the age of 14 in 1777. I've got goosebumps, Harold. That this is the American Revolution. This is the 250th anniversary of independence, by God, and people who, well, I won't get political, but this is big stuff. It's big stuff, and we should all be reflective upon the opportunities that we have in this country. He fought at Brandywine. He fought at Germantown. He fought at Monmouth. And he fell at Camden at the age of 17. And his tombstone, among the other 11, is being replaced. I don't think it has been yet, but they're going to replace it so that clearly his name now will appear on it. And during our tour, not only will we see where the Highlander fell, but I feel sure Rick will show us where John Pumphrey was, where his remains were found. And he'll point that spot out to us. But I just can't wait. 2 trips, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Each tour will be about 2 hours long. So if you want to go when it's a little cooler, go in the morning. If you want to go when it's a little warmer, go in the afternoon. It'll be late September, so the weather will be changing in the Midlands of South Carolina. It won't be as oppressively hot. And the special stuff that I can't reveal, that's going to happen during those tours, will blow you away. When we're back, it's more gaming. And then on Sunday, of course, that's getaway day, but it'll be a final opportunity if you haven't seen everything you want to see at Historic Camden or the museum, or walk 2 blocks over to the cemetery, or what have you. We're also going to have in our event program, a list of activities for non-gamers. Some people are bringing their significant others who won't be gaming, but they're coming on the trip. It's the Horse and Hound weekend in Camden. Camden is a big steeplechase community, big horse community there. And out at the racetrack, they're having Horse and Hound weekend. But there's also antebellum homes that can be toured, and other points of interest that will be listed for the non-gamers that are coming. So, gosh, I think I've hit the high points. Oh, there is no convention hotel, but there are 4 very affordable properties, literally 1 mile away. There are 3 convenient airports: Columbia, South Carolina; Charlotte, North Carolina; and Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. For those that are flying in, a lot of people are driving. This is an opportunity for those who live in the Southeast, certainly, to have a nice event in their own backyard. And I know several people from the Armchair Dragoons in North Carolina are going to be making the trip. And oh gosh, we're going to have podcasters there. We're going to have the Players Aid guys. We're going to have Grant and Alexander. We're going to have Justin Facino's coming. So I'm sure there'll be video recording of some of the high points that'll eventually be posted up, which should be wonderful. And you yourself, unfortunately, are going to be in Kenya on a safari. I mean,
whose idea was that?
Yeah, I mean, because
no, I'm going to miss it, and I apologize. I would love to be there
because we're playing Liberty or Death too, obviously. So one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love it, and yeah, it's going to be fun. I love to mix with that crew, and it's just it's a great group that you're going to have there. The gamers that love the AmRev, and the designers and the publishers and the reenactors are all. It's going to create a great stew of interesting stuff. Pat Wells from our crew, man, we got to get him down there. This is something he would love to do. So,
and again, if I may just close that topic by saying, I believe there are about 10 tickets left. They can be gotten from GMT, of course.
Yeah.
And so anybody who, I see a few people chiming in saying sounds fantastic, whatever, would love to, see you there.
Yeah, no, I think they should jump on it because, I'm tempted to just buy all 10 and then triple the price, right?
Scalper.
It's what this country was built on, Mark.
That's right. That's right.
Well, hey, Mark, that's a great place to close. You and I have so much to talk about. I feel like every time we record something, we could go for another couple of hours, but we'll call it here. And
sure.
I see a question popping up in the Discord, in your Discord channel. So no hurry, but when you might want to get back and respond to Jacob's question about plus ones, and I'm sure I'll talk to you before this, but have a wonderful convention. And so 2 more wait, can I give you 3 more things?
Yes, sir.
Gene Billingsley shared the shirt for the convention, your convention, and it's going to be this. So what do you think about that? He sent one to me.
Really?
Yeah. No, so I think that'll be great. Let me
the designer's the last to know. I mean, it's like the husband. The husband's the last to know around the family, and the designer's the last to know.
I love it. So let me share one other thing with you. Here's the T-shirt for. Let's see if I can share. Here's the T-shirt for our upcoming San Diego HISCON. We just got this from our buddy Terry Leeds. Share screen. I think it's this. Yeah, here we go. So this is the front of the SD HISCON Summit shirt in November.
Sweet.
So come on out and grab you one of those, Mark. And then this will be a badge that will go on the shoulder, but it's all red, white, and blue shirt. Of course, the incredible work of Terry Leeds. And then the last question. Are you ready for the last question?
Yes, sir.
My last question is, are you coming to San Diego in November?
Well, the jury is still out. I'm going to Malta in October. I'm going to WBC, obviously, in July. I'm going to Camden in September. That's a big deal for me. I'm going to Malta in October for 12 days on a hiking vacation. And
it's like 15 minutes to hike across both islands. The Malta's a piece of cake.
Yeah, you're
going to have extra time.
You think
we're thinking about Malta? By the way, we were thinking about Malta in December. So I hate that we're going to miss each other, but that sounds like fun.
Yeah. And then I hate to boo-hoo me, but 3 days ago now, my car that I've been I was determined to nurse it into 2027 before I replaced it. Finally died, and I said, no mas, no more money No more money. So I have a car on its way here from Greensboro through CarMax, which I have to buy now a year ahead of, well, half a year anyway ahead of schedule. So factors may be conspiring against me getting there this time. I'd be there if I will be there if I can, but I can't promise today that I can.
Yeah, well, let's keep talking about it. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And
And before you cut me off, I want to thank you again for first of all for having us me and Rob Doan earlier today. We had I think Rob said we might have had 15 people dialed in at the height of our teaching game. It was a lot of fun. People I knew, people I had never met before, so that's always good. We really enjoyed that, and hats off to you, Harold, for having this Rev War themed event. It's so appropriate. You're just a hell of a guy, and I'm just thrilled to know you. You did the right thing by doing this, my friend.
You're very kind, and I will tell you that it's less my work and more the crew on the team that said, Harold, we've got to have this. We've got to do something. So,
buy them a coffee.
I'm just the pretty face. There's a lot of people that's not a joke. I am the pretty face. And, and there are a lot of people working behind the scenes to make all this happen. And look, Mark, you're a gem. You're a gift. You're an asset to the hobby and a great representative. And I love having you around. And it's been great getting to know you over the last 10 years. And go tear them up in Camden, but save some gunpowder for San Diego.
All right, man. Thank you. Bye, everybody.